So it's been a while since I did anything in video format, and it's been a while since I done a demi, and I'm really hope that I'm going to keep this short enough for this to be a demi. But James Gunn's DCU just had its soft launch, where we finally have Creatures Commandos, and we finally have the Superman trailer. And a lot of people are talking about the Superman trailer. Not a lot of people are talking about Creatures Commandos, and no one's really talking about DCU as a whole. So I wanted to take a moment today during this winter break, during my hiatus between season 2 and season 3 of Don't Involve Me, to talk to you guys about Creatures Commandos and Superman. And I just rewatched the trailer for like the fifth or sixth time. I haven't really kept count at this point. And I wanted to deliver my thoughts as well as talk about the first four episodes of Creature Commandos and the DCU as a whole, and just thoughts on this soft launch, because it doesn't really feel like the DCU is here yet. But it is. Technically, it's here. It is launched. It has started. But Creatures Commandos is very much a soft launch, and we could argue that Suicide Squad Peacemaker was the first soft launch. So we're in like second soft launch of the DCU, but this is our first official project. But the big project, the big launch, the Iron Man of the DCU, so to speak, is Superman. So I want to talk about the trailer and my thoughts. And I've been on this show and I've been on this channel talking about how I have a whole lot of faith in James Gunn. Everything he's made has been great. Guardians of the Galaxy, fantastic. Some of the best, arguably the best trilogy in the MCU outside of maybe Captain America. Great filmmaker. He did DCEU. He did the Suicide Squad, which is probably the best film in the DCEU, as well as Peacemaker is wonderful. It's fantastic. Please watch it. It's a really good show. So I had a lot of hopes for James Gunn, and just hearing him talk, he's very open as a CEO, as a creative CEO. He's constantly talking on social media. He's on Threads, constantly talking to people. He's talking about the project, and he's saying a lot of the right things when it comes to Superman. And my biggest thing about Superman, my biggest wants, is I wanted a sophisticated Superman. And there's two ways that I feel like people create Superman. People tell the story of Superman. There's two versions of Supermans. There is the simple Superman that we all know, and that I think we all kind of more or less, this is what we kind of confuse Superman with, is the simple version of him. And then there's the sophisticated version. Now, mind you, both these Superman, like the character itself, is more or less the same. It's more or less what I'm saying is the simple version, and the sophisticated version is how you write, how you show off Superman. The simple version is he's super strong, he's strong, he fights his way through, he's a Boy Scout. And that's Superman, right? It's, hey, let's have someone who's stronger and we'll try to beat him up. And that is boring. That's the boring aspect of Superman. Obviously, there's more to it for simple Superman, but that's more or less, he's a really strong character who's a Boy Scout, he does the right thing, and that's the character. And by and large, that's what most people think Superman is. And that character is boring. No one wants to see the guy who can do everything and have him just do everything and be like, oh, yep, that's the story. And of course, there's different takes. Zack Snyder had his take of his simple Superman. Instead of being a Boy Scout, he's going to be edgier, but more or less the same character. Sophisticated Superman is the same character, but a more introspective, more in-depth look at it. What would it be like if you had all the power of the world, all the physical power in the world, the speed, the strength to do practically anything you want, but to turn around and just be a public servant? Because that's what Superman is. He's a public servant. He is a protector. He does it out of his own good will each and every day. He has the power to take out governments. He has the power to be the ruler of the world. Invincible is a sophisticated Superman story, except in reverse. What would it be like if the guy who is Superman like, comes to Earth with the plans to take over Earth, right? And that story is very similar to Superman, but goes in a completely different direction with it. It's a great story. Excited for season 3. It's coming out really, really soon. Season 1 and 2 is amazing. I just watched the premiere of season 1. I just rewatched it. It's a great show. But Sophisticated Superman is, how is this man constantly a Boy Scout? How is he this morally good character? Because humans, right, when we have studies about this, Stanford Prison study, which is a lot of talks like on the unethicalness and the effectiveness of this, but overall the concept is power corrupts, right? In our political statement, or our political world today, we're dealing with that a lot, right? People in power and corruption. Superman, the sophisticated story is, how is this man still, with all the power in the world, still this Boy Scout? How does it affect his relationships? He can hear everything. He just wants to help. What does he choose not to help? Right? And so this trailer, I had a lot of high hopes for it. I wasn't too worried about it. I honestly trust James Gunn to deliver. And after watching this trailer, I would agree that he delivered. This trailer gave me everything that I wanted. And I didn't really have a checklist, but the biggest one was, is this sophisticated Superman? Right? Is this more than just the Boy Scout who's super strong? And it seems like it is. This trailer was really heavy on one theme and one theme alone, which gives me a lot of hope. And that theme is hope, obviously, pun intended. Like, the theme is hope, right? The 2 days before the trailer dropped, they dropped the slogan, which is look up. What does look up mean, right? Look up in the sky, someone's flying. Look up. Keep your head up, right? Hope. Hey, if you're in trouble, just scream for Superman. That was in the trailer. The idea of like, hey, when you need a hero, he's coming, right? And so I really liked that overall theme. You have the John Williams Superman score in the guitar riff. I think in the subtitles it said fan fiction or some fan made version of it. I thought it was a really cool inclusion. The trailer showed a lot. It showed a lot of things happening without showing us the plot. I have no idea what this plot is. Other than Lex Luthor bad, there's a lot of things happening in the background. But one thing I really liked about this trailer is it just seems like there's a lot happening in the DCU. And the one thing I feel like DCU, MCU, live action movies, we get showed a world that seems rather boring. It seems rather only things happen here or there. We only hear about maybe one or two things, not a whole lot of like, I don't see the reason for superheroes to be existing. And in this trailer, oh man, there seems like there is a need for a superhero every single day. This trailer had dragons, like there's a giant dragon, other things that they're fighting. It just seems like a really busy, chaotic world that Superman, like, they need a Superman. I really enjoyed just seeing all the different heroes as well. Seeing Mr. Terrific live. Like, he was in the Arrow show and his costume there was pretty cool, but seeing just the comic accurate movie version of Mr. Terrific is really cool. The T-like mask was dope. I know Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner is getting a lot of flack. Like, oh wow, we had this CGI cool costume of Ryan Reynolds, and now this version gets this. Been seeing a lot of like those memes going on, like people who are hating James Gunn's film, and in the trailer, and I'm like, that's Guy Gardner for you. He looks like Guy Gardner. He looks comic accurate. He looks like a douchebag. He looks like his character. Hawkgirl looks pretty good. Metamorpho. I didn't realize that's who he was. I thought he was Bizarro or something else. His makeup looks practical. It doesn't look like Anthony Cardigan, who was somebody I was really looking forward to after watching Barry. I digress. The trailer looks really good. It looks really hopeful. It's a sophisticated Superman. There's a lot going on. And I didn't even talk about crypto yet. And I just like this movie feels like it's a we're jumping into the middle of a story in the middle of a world that's already lived in. And I was really that's what I wanted to see. I didn't want to see the start. I wanted to see this world, them building this world, and then Superman being the main character, the first main initial character. Um, the Lois Lane Superman connection looks really cool. I really love them showing Clark Kent, and like he has like the weird hairdo, the curly hair. It looks a little bit different, but it looks believable that you'd be like, well, it could be Superman, but maybe not. We just had a whole week where we were trying to look at like somebody covered up in the whole CEO shooting case, and we're all kind of like, does this guy look like this guy? And we're already doing that as a society. So like Superman's case, yeah, I can see the Clark Kent Superman, like why people wouldn't think they're one of the same. I just really like seeing Superman's like whole life being played out. I like the Clark Kent aspect of it, and I think that's like something that Man of Steel didn't really deliver. So it just really seems like it's lore based Superman. It seems like the tone's right. It's sophisticated. It's a lived in world. I'm just excited. It seems like a really good movie, and honestly might be one of the best superhero movies yet. And if it's not, I think the floor is a 4-4, which is a great movie. I think the floor is Guardians of the Galaxy. So I have high hopes. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get into James Gunn's other project. The project that starts it all, which is Creatures Commandos. And I don't know if I have a whole lot to talk about this show, other than the fact that it's really good. It's a really good show. I can't say it's a must watch. Like if you're an avid like DCU fan, I think yeah, you should watch it. You should get the understanding of like the world that James Gunn is building for the DCU. But to get like this show itself, I wouldn't say it's a must watch, but it is really good. It's a 4 plus quality of a show. It's really good writing. James Gunn does this thing where he will just take a group of characters and they're just very mixed match. They're very just watching Rudolph. The Island of Misfit Toys. They're just a bunch of miscast Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's what Creatures Commandos kind of reminds me of. It's Suicide Squad, but it's with monsters. You have the Bride, you have Frankenstein, you have Weasel from Suicide Squad, you have Dr. Phosphorus, voiced by Alan Tudyk. Frankenstein's being voiced by David Harbour. I don't know the other ones by name, other than yeah, you have Rick Flag Sr. as well, and you have Rick Flag Sr., who is the dad of Rick Flag Jr., who was in Suicide Squad. And it's really weird because like animation wise, they look kind of the same age. Like he looks like he might be they're 18 years apart. But it's really weird because you see like a 6-year-old man leading, and you're like, we just saw his son. But they do talk about it. They go over the events and they talk about character grievances. But the reason why the show works really, really well and why James Gunn is just famous for or is what James Gunn is famous for, taking a group of outcast characters, bring them together for a cause, and then just individually finding time to tell the sad stories of these characters. And that's what this show is. You have the Bride, why she was born. You have the Frankenstein and him being born from the doctor. Their dynamic. You have Weasel and his whole backstory, and it's tragic. You have what is it, Dr. Phosphorus. First 4 episodes doesn't really get much into him. You have the fish lady, which I kind of forgot her name. And it's just a really good story, but it's not like a must watch in the sense of like, this is really, really important. It's a really good tale with really good characters. And honestly, some of these stories are really, really sad. The animation is kind of a hit and miss. At times, the animation is kind of, I don't want to say cheap, but it's just doesn't look the greatest. Some of the buildings look weird, but at other times, it looks fantastic. Dr. Phosphorus is a radiant man. looks great at times. Like, and the music is fun. The soundtrack of the show is fantastic. It makes scenes just come alive. And it's just the soundtrack of like what James Gunn normally does. He finds really uplifting songs. He throws it in songs that you not sometimes you will know, sometimes it's songs that you never heard of, and it just fits the scene perfectly, and it makes the whole show really fun. It's a fun show. It's quick. I rewatched it yesterday. It took me about an hour, 2 hours to watch it all, and it's just a quick, easy breeze. It's a fun show. I just don't have much more to say about it because it's not really like a must watch. It's just quality writing, smaller scale show. I understand why that this is more of a soft launch because this isn't like a show. One, it's not a show for kids. Don't watch it. You have some questionably, yeah, I'm not going to spoil any more than that. It's a very adult show. Let's just say that, but really well done. Um, I give it a 4 plus, and I say it's not a must watch, but if you're a fan, it's a must watch. If that makes sense. Like if you're casual and you're like, oh, I'll just wait for Superman, that's fine. You're missing a really good show, but it's not a show that's like you have to watch it. If that makes sense. It's not like the MCU. And I know James Gunn has talked about this a lot, where he doesn't want you to have homework before you watch a show. And he's like, Guardians 2 and 3. You don't need Guardians 1 or 2 to enjoy 3. Everything is there for you to enjoy Guardians 3. But you're going to have a lot better time and you're going to understand a lot more and enjoy the movie more if you watch Guardians 1 and 2. And that's kind of the concept that they're going for. If you watch Creatures Commandos, you will enjoy Superman. If you don't watch Creatures Commandos, you're still going to enjoy Superman, but you're not going to get all the little bits of references. Obviously, I know Marvel does this too, but to a lesser degree. And that's where I put the Creatures Commandos story. I'm like, it's a really good story. It's really good characters. The animation reminds me of Invincible. It reminds me of Young Justice. At times it looks great. At times it looks not great. But overall, it's great. It's fun. It's a good show. So the soft launch for DCU, I'm excited. I hate that I have to wait 6 or 7 months before Superman because I think that's the next thing that comes out. And then I think we're in full launch DCU. Then that's when we're getting more movies. But overall, I'm excited. Like if this is what we're getting, and this is the quality that we're getting, if Creatures Commandos is like the bar, like that's the lowest we're going to be, we're in great hands. So I'm excited. Trailer looks good. Creature Commandos is great. Um, yeah, all aboard the James Gunn DCU train. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited. As a podcaster, super excited. I'm excited to talk about it. Excited to go and I'm just hyped, man. So yeah, that's it. It's great. Check it out, or don't wait for Superman. Either way, we're in good hands.